Give me some light. Give me some light. Running into some technical difficulties here. I have a horrible runny nose. I just got off late from work. This video is probably going to be a pain for you guys to watch. But the one thing we all can agree on is this is a fantastic time of the year because it's now NFL playoff freaking time. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now entering into super wild card weekend. And this is my favorite time of the NFL season, though. Despite whether the Seahawks are in it or not, though I really wish they were in it, though. We beat the Rams in Week 18, but it has been super, super exciting, though. And we got 6 games in wild card weekend. We got 13 overall. Pro Bowl doesn't count. Don't worry about that. And it's now playoff football time, though. I love playoff football, though. And boy, oh boy, we got some really exciting games for you. But, of course, we got to go look into the past. We got to go look at what we did last week. I actually think I did. I think I did fairly well. I won my fantasy championship, so I'm really happy about that. Yeah, I went 10-6 last week, which really has been one of my worst weeks. For a while, though, which finished my overall record at 192-80. So, very pleased about that. The ones I got wrong, let's see which ones I got wrong. I got the Packers. I picked the Packers over the Bears. That didn't work out. I picked the Bills over the Patriots, though, which, I mean, in the end, it all worked out, though. It was a meaningless game. I picked the Falcons over the Panthers, though. That was one of the best games of the year when you really think about it. Duel between Bryce Young and Michael Penix. Did anyone think they would say that? Probably not. What else did I get wrong? I got the 49ers over the Cardinals. I picked the games too early, so I didn't know Brock Purdy wasn't playing, though, because I was on vacation. Though, I picked the Dolphins over the Jets. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers decided to play really good. And then I picked the Vikings over the Lions, which... Kudos to the Lions. They played absolutely incredible. We don't really need to look at the games this week, though, because we know what all 6 games are going to be like, though. And so, just bear with me, though. So, we got our opening wild card round, and it's the Los Angeles Chargers at the Houston Texans, though. And overall, I'm just excited for all these games. I think all these games have potential to be really good, though. But this one in particular, I'm definitely very curious in, though. I think this is a very evenly matched game for the Texans, though. If Baltimore had to come here, I think Baltimore slaughters them. If Pittsburgh had to come here, oh gosh, that game probably won't be very fun because we'll get to the Steelers in a little bit, though. But the Chargers, though, looked really good against the Raiders last week. But then again, it is the Raiders, so how good is that really, though? But Quentin Johnston having a great game, though. What do you have? 18 catches, 180 yards? Like, geez. He looked really good. Of course, you still got Ladd McConkey. You still got J.K. Dobbins. Justin Herbert's having a good year. The defense is one of the best in the NFL. Jim Harbaugh has quickly turned that defense around. And I just think overall the quick change that Jim Harbaugh has done with the 49ers, the Michigan Wolverines, and the Los Angeles Chargers is very, very impressive. And I'm very looking forward to seeing this Chargers offseason and really seeing what they're going to do in the future. Do I trust them? No, because they are still the Chargers. But I do think this is a very good matchup for them. And I think it's a good matchup for the Texans, too, because the Chargers didn't have a ton of expectations, though, for this year, though, because it was a new coaching regime. Last year was a disaster for them. Last year, the Brandon Staley era, though. I'm calling the defenses, though. And the fact that they're here, though, and the top wildcard team, that's very impressive for the Chargers, though. Meanwhile, you have the Texans, though, and the Texans, they just have not been as good as what everyone thought they were going to be. I thought they were going to be one of the best teams in the NFL, and yes, they won their division, but also because the Jaguars, Titans, and Colts are in their division, and they were not particularly good. But also injuries have really hurt them. I think the Stephon Diggs tearing his ACL hurt, though. Tank Dell having that terrible injury, though their offensive line hasn't been very good. And Bobby Slowick, their offensive coordinator, hasn't been particularly good either, though. And CJ Stroud, he just has not been as good as he thought, as we all thought he was going to be. He's definitely hit a sophomore slump, though. I really hope that he gets better. And And overall, I do think this is a good matchup for both teams, though. Their defenses are really good. Their offenses have potential. We're good. We're good. Not feeling the greatest right now. But we're fine. We're fine. We're going to do great. Ugh. But overall, I do think that this is a good matchup for either team, though. I could see Houston winning. I do think there is a chance they could pull off the upset, though. But I just think the Chargers are the more complete team right now. The Texans have kind of struggled against some top-tier opponents, though. So I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Chargers in this one. And they're going to be heading to... We'll have to see, because it depends on our other two AFC matchups, which we're going to get to in a little bit, though. Next game we got, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Baltimore Ravens. And this is a very, very interesting matchup because I'm going to go out and say right away, I love Ravens-Steelers matchups, though. They're usually always very close. They're usually very low scoring. They grind each other out, though. And these two teams just beat the crap out of one another, though. It did get announced today that Zay Flowers is not going to be playing, so that is going to hurt the Ravens' offense a little bit, though. But meanwhile, the Ravens still have Lamar Jackson, who's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL this year. You still got Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews, Rashad Bateman, and of course you have Derrick Henry, who's had a fantastic year. So I do think we're going to get a big chunk load of Derrick Henry. Meanwhile, you have the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers, of all the teams here, have absolutely no momentum. I think the Steelers are going into the playoffs as one of the worst teams and in one of the worst scenarios. They've lost 4 straight games against some top-tier opponents, though. That Bengals game ended in absolute disaster. Russell Wilson has been struggling. And they had the division in their hands, except it got away from them in the end. And that's not exactly inspiring for the Pittsburgh Steelers, though, especially since they have to go up against the Ravens. They did go to Baltimore just a little bit ago. And it was a close game for a little bit, but then after Russell Wilson picked 6, though, didn't exactly help, though. And then, of course, Russell Wilson fumbling kind of after running, though, not exactly helpful, though. And this is a game I actually would not be at all surprised if the Pittsburgh Steelers win. I know the Ravens are going to be favored in this game, but the Ravens, they are a very inconsistent team. When they are on their game, they are one of the best teams in the NFL. And if you're asking me, I think they are one of the scariest teams in the NFL. And I do think this Ravens team can make a Super Bowl run. Just as I said, their offense is very explosive, though. Their defense has been coming into its own, though. But the problem is, when the Ravens are not on their game, they are extremely vulnerable. Let's not forget, they've lost to the Raiders and the Browns. Those are 2 of the worst teams in the NFL. And it's losses like that are not pretty, though. You also had games like the Eagles Eagles and the Steelers, 2 Pennsylvania teams, where Justin Tucker has missed multiple kicks, though. And so it's those kind of games that make me go, "Ooh, I'm very hesitant about the Ravens." And if if some of those flaws get exposed, I can actually see Pittsburgh winning this game because it is a divisional game, though. But when they're on their game, though, they are extremely hard to stop. And if they are on their game and Pittsburgh is not, though, this game could get out of hand for Pittsburgh in a hurry. I am going to go with the Baltimore Ravens, though. The Steelers, to me, they just have no momentum right now. And I think it's going to be very hard for them to come into this Baltimore environment, though. Just as I said, I could see Pittsburgh winning, though, because it is a divisional game. But because Pittsburgh has no momentum, I just cannot pick them right now. So we're going to go with the Baltimore Ravens. Then we go to our last AFC game of the week, and this is the one that I think could be the most lopsided, but we're going to dive into that just right now. You got the Denver Broncos at the Buffalo Bills, and first of all, Broncos, congratulations, you clinched a playoff berth, though. It was a little hard fought, but you did it in the end, so you know what? Congratulations, good for you. The Denver Broncos, the Broncos are definitely going into the playoffs very, very weak. They have a very inexperienced playoff team, excluding Sean Payton, though. But Bo Nix, rookie quarterback, has been fantastic for the most part, though. Their defense has been very solid, except for the game against the Browns, which was very, very weird, though. And the Broncos have been a very surprising team because the Broncos were expected to be one of the worst teams in the NFL. The Bo Nix pick got hated, though. Of course, you got like the Bo picks, the Mo picks, though. Of course, the Bo Lever. Of course, they're dead in cap, though. Yeah, of course, they have like a massive dead cap hit for Russell Wilson, though. And the Broncos were not expected to do much, though. And they have really surprised people. I thought the Bo Nix pick was a little overhated. Hate the Michael Penix pick more. Like, that was kind of my thoughts, though. But I was like, yeah, but I'm like, Bo Nix, he's going to get off to a slow start, but I think he's going to be solid. Bo Nix got off to a slow start, but he's taken off ever since then. Ever since those first 2 games where he did not play good, though, his record has been 10-5, and there's been games he has looked absolutely incredible. And the fact that they have a rookie quarterback, since he is their guy and they will have money to spend next year, though, if the Broncos get blown out against Buffalo, I don't really think very many Bronco fans are going to be super disappointed with that. And I know the Steelers are slated higher than them, but just as the Steelers have no momentum, the Broncos, well, first of all, they beat the ever living crap out of the Chiefs backups, though, which I'm sure if you beat the Chiefs, that's always exciting. But the Broncos have their guy, and I'm pretty positive they're going to build around him in the offseason, though. So if they lose this game, I don't think no one's going to be too upset, though. But meanwhile, they're going up against the Buffalo Bills, though, and the Buffalo Bills are definitely one of the best teams in the AFC. You can maybe say they're the best team in the AFC. Josh Allen has been on tear, and the rebuild they were going to have, though, what rebuild? Josh Allen is him. He's the guy, which if you didn't know that already, he definitely is now. And Josh Allen has been on a tear lately, though. He has been absolutely incredible. He's put the team on his back, though, with a broken hand and all, though. Their defense has been a little inconsistent at times, but Josh Allen has proven that he can basically outscore and outplay anybody, though. And so because of that, I do think this is probably one of the most lopsided matchups, though. I could see this game being pretty close, though. If Bo Nix is going to come into Buffalo and basically be like, hey, like, I'm it. Oh, dear. Well, as you can tell, I started to lose my voice there for a bit, though. I was talking about Bo Nix. I was talking about him maybe dueling Josh Allen, though. I do think this game can potentially be close, though, because Bo Nix has been that good, though, in my opinion, though. But I do think that it's going to be very hard for him to duel Josh Allen in this environment, especially since the Bills have a ton of playoff experience, since Josh Allen is one of the best quarterbacks in the game, though. I don't think the Broncos are quite there yet, so I have to pick the Buffalo Bills to win. And that means we're going to get a Bills-Ravens AFC divisional round, and I'm losing my voice again. All right, my voice is back again. It's going to be one of those videos, isn't it, though? So that means we're going to have Ravens, Bills, and Chargers, Chiefs in the next round. That'd be very exciting. But obviously, we're not going to talk about that, though. We're going to go to the NFC, and we have the Green Bay Packers at the Philadelphia Eagles, a rematch that wasn't in Philadelphia. It was in Brazil, though all the way back in week 1. And this is another very interesting matchup, though. The Green Bay Packers, I think, are probably the best 7 seed we've ever had. I know there's like a talk of like, oh, they can't beat good teams, though. And I do think part of that is kind of true, but I also think some of that is a little overhated, though. Green Bay has shown that their defense and offense can be incredible. Jordan Love has been playing great football for the past, I think 2 months, though. He hasn't thrown an interception in a while, especially since he was a massive turnover machine in the first half of the year. But a big loss for the Packers is, of course, Christian Watson tearing his ACL, though. I know Jordan Love got injured. I don't think that's going to mean anything, though. He is expected to come back. But the biggest question is for the Philadelphia Eagles, though. The Eagles, though, they've had a weird past couple of weeks, though. Of course, they lost Jalen Hurts to a concussion, though. He is still in concussion protocol right now, but I heard that he's starting to practice, though. He's on track to return, and I would be absolutely shocked if Jalen Hurts doesn't come back, though. The Eagles are going to want to get him back in, though, especially for a playoff game, though. But the Eagles overall have been an absolute fantastic team, though. They have some great receivers. Dallas Goedert got taken off of IR. I don't think he's going to play in this game, but I do think he can come back for the divisional round or championship, assuming the Eagles go that far, though. Their defense has been one of the best in the NFL, though. Their secondary, which was a weakness last year, has been a strength this year, though. Jalen Hurts has had another good year. Saquon Barkley has been a monster. He's been on a tear, and especially against a Packers run defense that surprisingly is actually pretty good this year. Maybe Saquon Barkley doesn't have as big of a game as probably he would have earlier in the season, though. And I think that right there is a very interesting matchup, though. However, though, because the Packers are dealing with some injuries, though, and for the most part, the Eagles are fairly healthy, though, I'm actually going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles to take this one. And that means the Eagles are going to host another playoff game. Then we go to our next game, and this is probably the game I'm the most excited for. The more I think about this game, the more I'm excited. You got the Washington Commanders at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And for the most part, this is a very evenly matched game, though. Of course, with the Commanders, though, Jayden Daniels having a fantastic year, though. He got pulled out quite early on, though. I'm not too concerned about that, though. Marcus Mariota coming up clutch, though, throwing a game-winning touchdown. Terry McLaurin, though. And the Commanders have been such a cool story because the Commanders, of course, for many years have been hated because of Dan Snyder, though. Just an incompetent organization. They still need a new stadium, by the way. But really, it's just been just a lot of down times for the Commanders, though, and now they finally have some hope. Jayden Daniels is him. He looks like he is the guy for Washington, though. Dan Quinn, as of right now, he looks like a good hire for them, though. And Jayden Daniels, he's been the kind of quarterback that he has really just pulled rabbits out of his hat. Whether you're talking about the Hail Mary that he threw against the Bears, the 5-touchdown performance against the Eagles, though, the 86-yard Hail Mary to Terry McLaurin that didn't count because they missed the extra point, the game that was on drugs, though. And, of course, his game-winning heroics against the Falcons, though. Jayden Daniels has proven that he can be extremely clutch. Now, this is definitely going to be a massive step up because now more than ever, the world is watching, though, on the playoff stage. But meanwhile, you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who Baker Mayfield has basically dragged the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to the playoffs, though. Mike Evans getting 1,000 yards, which is definitely super, super exciting. I'm so proud of him, though. But Baker Mayfield has easily had the best year of his entire career, and especially since the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were expected to regress a little bit after Dave Canales left, though, this is definitely a very good sign for Tampa Bay, basically saying like, oh yeah, though, that money that we spent on Baker Mayfield, we should have given him more. And I feel like this game is basically gonna come down to the quarterback who can just make the crazier plays. I think Jayden Daniels has had the crazier season, but Baker Mayfield is Tampa Bay. Nate, it will be the key to Tampa Bay's success in the playoffs. Though I do think it's possible that Tampa Bay could win. They have suffered some injuries, though. This is a rematch from week 1, though. But Jayden Daniels is a little more established by now. I'm actually going to pick the Washington Commanders. I feel like Washington is going to pull it out, though. I feel like the rest of the Buccaneers team is kind of meh right now. But then I also think the Commanders are also kind of meh, though. Just to say, I think it's going to come down to whatever quarterback can make the craziest play, though. I think it's going to come down to one of these quarterbacks making a play. And this is the game I'm the most excited for. I could totally see Tampa Bay winning, though, but my gut is telling me Washington. So we're going to stick with Washington. Now we go to our Monday night game, and it's the Minnesota Vikings versus the Los Angeles Rams, because it has just been announced that that game will not be played in Los Angeles. It will actually be played in Arizona, though, due to the fires in Los Angeles. So Los Angeles, though, you are in our prayers, though. We want you to make it through this, though. And yeah, our thoughts and prayers are with you. Now, this is a very interesting matchup, though, because first of all, Kevin O'Connell, Minnesota Vikings head coach, he was the Rams offensive coordinator during their Super Bowl run. So both of these coaches know each other. They're both very young. They are both offensive-minded head coaches, though. And the Minnesota Vikings are a very tricky team, Nate. And the Minnesota Vikings are one of the best teams in the NFL right now, but yet they're stuck in a wild card spot because they couldn't win against the Detroit Lions, though. The Minnesota Vikings have a ton of talent on their team on offense and defense, though. Talk about their offense in a little bit, though, but their defense has definitely been a massive surprise, although their secondary is a little weak, which the Los Angeles Rams could take massive advantage on, though. Both of these teams faced on a Thursday night game, and it came down to a penalty, though. Sam Darnold got his face mask pulled in the end zone, so it resulted in safety and the Rams winning, though. So you know the Vikings are going to want revenge here, though. This is also, I don't think, a very good matchup for the Rams, though, because the Rams have been extremely sluggish lately, though, and I do think the Minnesota Vikings can take advantage of it, though. However, though, just as I mentioned, though, the Los Angeles Rams have already beaten the Minnesota Vikings already. They've beaten teams like the Buffalo Bills. So I really believe the Los Angeles Rams can beat almost everybody in the playoffs, though. Heck, if the Super Bowl was the Rams and the Bills, number one, I wouldn't be surprised. Well, I'd be a little surprised, though. But I also am like, yeah, that doesn't sound too crazy, though. Like, that's how good I think this Rams team is, though. They can go toe-to-toe with absolutely anybody. So I do think this is going to be an absolute incredible game. But meanwhile, the thing that people are pointing out right now is that Sam Darnold did not look good against the Detroit Lions, a beat-up Lions team. That was definitely the biggest stage of his entire career, and he absolutely blew it. Now, I do think some of that was the Lions defense playing that good, but Sam Darnold missed a lot of throws. But with the weapons that he has around him, though, Aaron Jones, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, though, Sam Darnold should have a very good game against the Los Angeles Rams. And if Sam Darnold doesn't, then maybe we're looking at Sam Darnold a little bit differently going into this next offseason, though. However, I do think we're going to get a bounce-back game from the Vikings and Sam Darnold, though. The Rams have been really sluggish lately, and I feel like the Vikings are going to take advantage of it, though. Although, if the Rams are on their game, I could totally see the Rams winning, though. I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings to win, which then means our next playoff matchups are going to be Commanders-Lions, which I think that could be fun. You got Chargers-Chiefs, which I think that'd be very good. Ravens-Bills, which is the game of the week. And then the Vikings-Eagles, which is probably one of the most evenly matched games of the week. All right. Now I got to go take care of my nose. Hopefully I can take care of it by tomorrow. I mean, it's Thursday, but I'll post this tomorrow. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, though. And please subscribe. And also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And I will see you guys all next time. Bye.